All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tat2d Preacher Podcast. This is episode number 61. Hope you're all doing awesome today. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the recent drone situation happening really all over, but particular New Jersey, eastern part of the United States. I've kind of stayed away from it since it's been about a few weeks that's been going on. And I really wasn't sure. Now, this whole subject, I'm super fascinated by the whole subject of UFOs, UAPs, aliens, just this whole thing, especially in light of the recent disclosure events that have happened, where certain whistleblowers going in front of Congress and relaying a whole bunch of insane information. Information like there's a retrieval program that's retrieved craft and retrieved non-human entities and all this stuff. But this whole drone thing, it had a bit of a different feel to it. I don't know. And so I've kind of stayed away from it, but I've done some more thinking on it, and just thought do not know anything for sure. So this is just my thoughts, and everyone has their own opinions and are voicing it out there. So this is just my attempt at that as I look at the information and talk about it. And then also I'm going to end just with a biblical perspective again. Try to always bring things back to the Bible, to Scripture, and because the reality is, if this happens to be extraterrestrial, this happens to be some kind of non-human thing, then it just lends credence to this idea that the Bible has talked about a spiritual battle, spiritual warfare, and the Bible's full of examples of non-human entities from the beginning to the end. So, but I'll end with that. So this whole drone thing, there's so many opinions flying around out there, right? That's the problem. That's the pro and the con with our modern day social media landscape. Everyone's got a platform, everyone's got a mic, and therefore everyone's got an opinion. And so there's a lot of opinions flying around out there. One of the big ones is Project Bluebeam. And those of you who are listening to this, watching this, and you don't know what that is, I believe it started with this group of people that believe that there was going to be how do they describe it? A fake coming of Christ that's going to be done all through holograms, and it wasn't going to be real, but the return of Jesus was going to happen, but it's all going to be staged, all going to be fake. And then it's kind of shifted into this fake UFO invasion that's going to be coming. And so you hear all these people talking about these drones and with this technology. It's just setting the stage for this fake UFO invasion that's going to come. It's going to create this false unity amongst the countries, and then which ultimately going to usher in this one world system, one world order. It's going to usher in the Antichrist. Now, to be honest, looking at where technology's gone and just looking at AI and looking at all this, there could be truth to that. But is that what's happening here in this particular situation? Don't really think so. A lot of people are saying that it could be a secret mission that's designed to hide the real reason of why. So there's something going on that they don't want people to know about. So they're just they're muddying the water, so to speak. So who knows exactly what the mission is? Could be foreign, could be domestic. When I say domestic, I mean domestic to the USA. And to throw people off the scent, So while there could be drones and things that are actually being purposely put out there for a specific reason to hide that reason, then they're just going to flood the skies with all these drones just to get people freaking out, to throw them off the scent of what's actually going on. Now, again, that reason to me, I could totally see that makes sense. Because obviously, I mean, if there's secret factions of the U.S. government doing these off-book secret missions, they don't want the public to know, but they also know that everyone has a cell phone now and that you can't really hide anything anymore. So how do they get around that? Well, let's do our actual mission, but then let's throw people off the scent by flooding the skies with all these other drones to create all these other narratives out there to kind of blend out, muddy the water so people don't know what's going on. So that could be the case, but and then there's people with think that there's nefarious intent by it. I saw this one video. This dude, again, these are videos. They could be doctored, they could be a hoax. Not saying this is 100% legit, but he was taking a video of this one drone and it was spraying stuff, kind of like a chemtrail drone, spraying stuff. This is nighttime. In the night sky, and you can see the trail behind this massive drone as it's going across the sky. Now, chemtrails, that's a whole other subject, but modern day, I mean, what's modern day warfare look like? What's modern day? If you want to infect a lot of people, it's a very smart and efficient way to do it. So if there's a drone out there spraying stuff, what are they spraying? Why are they spraying it? They're doing it at nighttime, so they don't want it to be seen. I don't know. Again, that video could be doctored, could be fake, but to be completely honest, I wouldn't put it past certain government sects to doing that, because if you look up into the sky in the daytime, I mean, I'm from Canada, and my wife's from Germany, and in the Canadian skies, every day, you see massive chemtrails. And then when I was in Germany this past spring, I had never seen so many chemtrails in my life. Like the sky was literally crisscrossed with all of that. So I'll leave that there. Now, to break it down, that's what people are saying. And that's 3 of common narratives that I've seen out there. But if you just kind of stop and think about, like, what could these drones possibly be? Well, the first is they could be our own. So when I say our own, again, I'm speaking to the U.S. because I'm a Canadian. So it could be those secret intelligence agencies in the U.S. government. They are manning, or they are operating these drones. And now, again, the government, they're coming out saying, we don't know what they are. They're not from us. They're not from any other country. So they're basically saying, like, we don't know what they are. Now, how realistic and believable is that? All the technology, all the secret technology that the U.S. has that is behind the scenes that no one knows about, they really can't figure it out what it is. I highly doubt that they don't know what these drones are. So I don't believe the public narrative that we don't know what they are, we're investigating it. So the first one is it's our own drones, and again, as I mentioned before, they're carrying out some kind of operation, some kind of mission. They don't want people to know what they're doing. So they are creating all these false narratives. They're filling the skies with a whole bunch of drones and trying to just muddy the water so people don't know what's going on. But they're all they're domestically owned and operated. That's the first one that could be. Second is foreign operators. So some other foreign nation is infiltrating the U.S. skies with drones. Now, they, as far as we could tell, as far as, I mean, I haven't seen any other video footage of them being hostile, other than that chemtrail one. But so they're not being hostile. So, but even still, even if they're not, even if they're quote unquote friendly drones, but they're being owned and operated by foreign nations, flying into and around certain secret sites. And why New Jersey, why those specific locations, why are they popping up all over? And it's like you have these if it's foreign, you have these foreign drones coming in, and the response is, we don't know what they are, and they're saying that they're not foreign. So it's like, why would they be lying? Could it be that these drones, because I mean, nowadays you can put whatever you want on a drone. You can carry missiles, you can carry nukes, you can carry spy technology on these crafts, infrared technology that can look deep into the ground for all those military bases underground. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that can happen. So it's like, if it's foreign, and as the US government, like, they're looking at all this stuff and they're choosing to not shoot it down, or they're choosing to not engage with them, could it be that these things are carrying some dangerous stuff on board? No, that's interesting thought. And I can't remember exactly where. I think it was New Jersey, that they passed a law now that no civilian can shoot it down. They're making that, like, if you do that, like, you go to jail. Now, why would they make that law? You shoot them down. And again, it could be the practical side, that because some of these suckers are massive, you shoot them down and it goes down over a residential area. It could damage homes and hurt people, blah, blah, blah. True, but if you're the government, and again, I think that they know what these things are, and they're not ours, but they're coming from some foreign country, and they're carrying destructive something, missiles, bombs, some kind of viral pathogen. So that would be a reason why you don't want to shoot them down. And that'd be the reason why they're telling civilians not to shoot them down and not to engage with them. So it could be foreign. But if that's the case too, I mean, it's just like, that'd be super embarrassing. You're supposed to be the most powerful military complex in the entire world, and you got thousands of drones from foreign countries coming into your own airspace, and you're doing nothing about it because you're scared. Like, I don't know. So that's why, to me, that option, I think, is the least likely out of them. But that's just my opinion. And then the third, they're actually UFOs. They're actually extraterrestrial craft that are wanting to be seen now. I mean, UFOs have been spotted for, depending on what research you look at, decades and even centuries, right? But they've never tried to put themselves on display like this, because regardless of what this is, they're trying to make a visual spectacle that they want the world to see. In this social media age that we live in, and where everything makes its way across the whole world in a second. So regardless of what it is, they want to be seen. They want to put it on display. And quote unquote UFO craft, aliens, whatever, they've never really done that before. So this would be a bit of a game changer in terms of, like, really wanting to be seen. And so, but then when you look at a lot of these videos, they're not really, they seem very conventional. They seem very, we're not seeing the typical UFO where they're flying 20,000 miles and stopping on a dime and making a right-hand turn, and, like, they're not doing the crazy, like, UFO maneuvering. But what's also interesting, on the same vein as that is I did read that UFO, they also have been recorded as mimicking conventional aircraft to make it look like or sound like normal aircraft in the sky. So normal airplanes, helicopters, perhaps normal looking drones. And so they know how to mimic. Now that I wouldn't put that past them. The level of technology, if these UFOs, they're coming from a different, again, that's a whole other, where do they come from? Is it somewhere else in space? Is it come from the ocean? Does it come from a different dimension? Regardless of where it's coming from, clearly they have a level of technology that's superior to what we commonly see and know on the earth. So, could they mimic stuff? Sure. And so I found that out. And so that, to me, that's an interesting, but then why would they go to all this trouble to have this massive display only to make it look like it's just conventional aircraft technology? I don't know. So typically those are the three main areas. It's either our own, and we're doing it for our own purposes, and we don't want people to really know what it is, and so we're creating this whole false narrative to muddy the water so people don't know what's going on. It's foreign, which in that case, why are we shooting them down? Why aren't we taking care of them? Why are we letting them hover in our skies for like hours and days on end? Or they're actually UFO, UAP, extraterrestrial drones / craft. And if that's the case, why now? And why the public display? Why they need to be seen like this way right now? And so the whole Blue Beam crowd, they would look at that and be like, hey, this is setting the stage, man. This is all fake. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all holograms. It's all our own stuff, and we're just setting the stage for Project Blue Beam. I don't know. And so out of those different options, I think if I had to pick, I'd pick the first one. I don't think if they're actually or here's the thing. It could be a combination. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be a combo of both. And so to me, thinking about all the options, like it could be first options, our own, and it could be UFO stuff. Both. And in both cases, right, it's like to avoid panic, to avoid mass hysteria, it's like, okay, we need to figure out what's going on. So we're gonna tell people we're gonna just tell people enough information without telling them everything. Now, if it was actually UFO, or even if it was foreign, it's just like, and you're the government, clearly you want to be investigating what's going on. So it could be like our own stuff is out there and we're trying to figure out what's going on. So we're using our drones to spy and look at the other drones. And of course, they're not going to tell us what it is and what they're doing. So it could be a whole bunch of things, but I can't believe that they don't know what's going on. They don't know what they are. I think that's a bunch of nonsense. I just think that whatever the real reason is, they don't want people to know what the actual reason is. And so they're just giving enough information, or they're just playing their cards a certain way where it's like they're not really telling anyone any real information, but they're also not denying it either. And so I'm interested to see what they end up saying and concluding, because it can't just stay like this forever. This whole, we don't really know. So eventually something's going to come out and they're going to say, oh, actually it was this and whatever. So I'm interested to see what they ultimately say. But I definitely think there's something going on there. I definitely think that it's not just a bunch of drones flying around for no reason. Um, some of them definitely could be UFO related, but I think a lot of them is our own, and there's stuff going on there that they don't want people to see. Now, how do we relate this back to the Bible? How can we put a scriptural component on this? As I mentioned at the beginning, like, we live in a spiritual war, spiritual battle, and the Bible is filled with this battle that um, involves non-human entities. So I think that if this comes out to its actually being, and not just this drone thing, but just in general, this whole alien disclosure, UFO phenomenon that's just gaining more and more public uh, traction, becoming just way more publicized, that it shouldn't scare us as Christians. It shouldn't rattle our faith to the point where it's like, well, the Bible doesn't talk about aliens, and it's like the term extraterrestrial means not from Earth. And the Bible is filled with beings that are extraterrestrial, not from Earth. And I think that, as I've mentioned in other podcasts and videos, like, the Bible, or the spiritual world, the spiritual realm, however you want to define that, is so much more complex than we could ever imagine. I mean, you look at the complexity of our natural world. You look at all the different species of animals, and you look at just like, I can't remember, it was millions of different species. And you look at just how intricate the animal kingdom is and how it functions. And it's like, you look at humans and the way our bodies work and the way things are connected. I mean, you just look at the natural world, and it's like super complicated. So why do we think that the spiritual world is just this simple, oh, it's just angels and demons? Like what? And so I think there could be way more stuff. And I do think there's way more stuff going on than we realize. And I think that regardless of what comes out, they've already come out and said that it's real, but still a lot of people think that it's not real. It's still fake. So even if they come out unequivocally with some kind of proof, some kind of information that it just 100% proves aliens exist, they're real, this craft is real, all this stuff, it's like, it should not cause a Christian to be fearful. It shouldn't rattle a faith. Because the reality is, we've been dealing with non-human entities, demonic beings, since the Garden of Eden. So don't get sidetracked into thinking, oh no, if aliens are real, then that just means that the Bible's not real, and go down this road of this, just like, where it's like your faith is so shaken. And it's like, no, it's a spiritual demonic entity. Because I believe that my personal thought is, I think they are real. And I think they're a different. I don't think they're not demons. And again, I've gone through a number of videos and podcast episodes explaining the difference here. They're not demons. I think they're a different faction in the kingdom of darkness, different entity that's existed, whether they were created by God, whether they've been created by fallen angels, I don't know. I think they're a different entity. It's in the kingdom of darkness, and I think they're connected to the fallen angels. I think there's a connection point there. But they have technology, they have craft, they travel, so it's just, it could be one small piece to this massive puzzle that typical Christians, we just have no perception of. And so all that to say, it doesn't have to rattle your faith, doesn't have to shake your faith. And you don't have to be discouraged. You don't have to be afraid. Jesus is still Lord. He's still sovereign. He's still the King. And Colossians 1 is still true, where he's above all authority, all power, all rule, all dominion. There's nothing greater than his name. There's no other name. There's no other entity. He rules over all. So whether that's aliens and whether that's other demonic entities that we've never really seen or heard of that come onto the scene, it doesn't matter. Jesus is still over all. And so that's my encouragement. Don't get sucked into the realm of discouragement, but then on the same, don't get sucked into this belief, this ancient alien belief where you can get off track and start thinking things that are not even in the Bible either. You can go off and that's a whole other rabbit trail to go down. So stay anchored in the scriptures, stay anchored in the truth of God's word. Understand that our enemies may be more complex than we think, but stay anchored to the Bible. So that's what I wanted to share this episode. Let me know your thoughts below, what you all think. What are they? Is it our own? Is it foreign? Is it actual UFO craft? Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's start a dialogue and have an awesome rest of your day or evening. And we'll see you all in the next episode. Much love. God bless.